Hello, hello. I'm Carly Civello and I'm a talking person. Hi, everyone. It has been kind of crazy around here. It's been 2 weeks since I posted a podcast. I released my intro. We had 2 guests on. Go check those out if you have not already watched or listened. I sat down with the lovely Monica Reeves on one podcast and then just another wonderful guest the following week, the lovely creator of House Dahlia, Emma. They were both on the pod. We had some lovely discussions. I keep saying lovely. I'm just tired. I'll find more adjectives along the way in this episode, but I really just wanted to jump on and say hi. There are like 6 of you, but I did notice I'm like very into the data. I've been really excited by kind of seeing all the statistics on different platforms for the podcast. And I did notice that on Monday at noon, there was a jump in people checking out my page. And so I felt really, really bad that I did not let people know there was going to be no episode. But there was a good reason. On Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, I got married. You can't see it because my hand's really white and blown out. There it is. For those who are watching, just shut off the ring. Hi. Yeah, got married. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. I took a break from posting. I had really tried my best to schedule content ahead of time. I had planned on recording a podcast the Friday before my wedding, and then we just had so many freaking errands to run, and people were coming into town. We had all my in-laws were in town, our nieces and nephews, and then my party started arriving, and so that just did not happen. We had like ordered some final bits and bobs from Amazon for the wedding that ended up just disappearing and not arriving. So we ended up spending the day I was gonna fit in a podcast filming. We spent that day just running errands. So super fun. That was why there was no episode on Monday, May 5th. And then I honestly have just kind of been recovering from all of the peopling and socializing. If you're also autistic, you get it. It was just took all my spoons to socialize. So really spent like most of the last couple weeks napping, going back to work, finishing up 36 days of type. Let's talk about that for a second. 36 days of type. It was my 5th year doing it. Talked a lot with Monica 2 episodes ago about 36 days of type, what she's doing, kind of the challenge as a whole and where it stands right now. But I was really, really happy to just be done with it. With the wedding coming up and with starting a job a few months ago, a new job, I was really worried about getting stuff done on time. And then as the wedding approached, I had planned out several days in advance and it just caught up to me. We're at the hotel. It's the night before the wedding and I'm like doing the final touches on the one for our wedding day and then the one the day after. And luckily, I did not miss one. I feel very proud of the fact that in 5 years, I have never missed a day, although, like, is perfection really something we should be striving for? Would it have really mattered? I didn't even post on here for 2 weeks. No one seemed to care. Maybe like 2 people. So, really proud of that. And it's also like, it didn't feel like work to me the night before we got married in the hotel. Like, we were trying to just chill out. I got out my iPad. I was drawing a lot. I had already planned the letters and numbers I was going to do at the very beginning. I sat down, planned it all out, kind of mapped it all out. And then, yeah, I was drawing pretty much up until the moment I walked down the aisle, which was fun. It was calming though. It was really nice to have that to do in the hotel. I am a little sad that I didn't plan more ahead because the day after I was exhausted and I had to pull out. I think that was day 8 and I shot myself in the foot because I myself chose the start date for everyone. We started on April Fool's Day, April 1st last year, and then this year I was like, let's start on the same day, not looking at the calendar and realizing that that would put us in the final stretch the week of my wedding and a couple weeks after launching the podcast. So that was very, very fun. Loved seeing all the entries. I talked with Monica about this. I have this year it was over double the number of people who submitted to 36 Days of Type Carly's version, Carly's edition. And I just love seeing all the artwork. I got a bunch of people thanking me, even like after the wedding, I was still online. I told people I wasn't going to go online, but I was still online looking at everybody's art and reposting it. If you guys have not completed it yet, if you are someone who wants to do it at another time of year, you are not locked in. You're not locked in at all to the schedule, to the days that are set. I know when Women of Type also posted a calendar for it. You are not locked into those days, in my opinion. If you tag me in anything 36 Days of Type, if you invite me as a collaborator, tag me, use the hashtag. I try my very best to monitor it year round. And so, you'll see on my page, I repost year round. So if you would like to go, if you are a late joiner, if you forgot this year, if you didn't see that it was happening, go ahead and tag me. I will repost your stuff. I love sharing. The week after the wedding, pretty much napped every single day. We got home the day after. In the morning, we didn't do like a formal breakfast brunch thing. We just kind of invited people to our hotel. We said goodbye to them before everybody got on the road, the people who came out of town. We had a lot of people. My husband's family is in Michigan, so we had a lot of people driving, had a few people flying in. We said goodbye, and then we packed up the car and went home. And the second we got home, we ate a family-size box of Annie's white cheddar mac and cheese, and then passed out on the couch for 5 hours. We were so tired. And just so you guys know, I have not actually talked about the wedding on here, except last podcast I talked a little bit about dress shopping because we were talking about fashion and fat phobia with Emma. Again, go watch that one. It was really, really good. We talked a little bit about it then, but otherwise I don't think I've shared much. But anyway, the wedding was really exhausting. We had under 50 people there. We were called a micro wedding by many vendors. A lot of venues would not even take us. They would not even accept us as a wedding because we were too small. So feeling very, very lucky, was very, very happy to have it. We had it at the Hershey Gardens in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It's the town I grew up in. It's the town we met, the town where we met. And yeah, it was just a beautiful, beautiful day. It was supposed to thunderstorm. It ended up not. We had a little bit of rain, a little bit of mist. There was some drizzle. And then we had a rainbow. So it was beautiful. I see a rainbow like 3 or 4 times a year. It was beautiful. We had one on our wedding day. It was truly a perfect day. No wedding is without a smidge of family drama, which of course we had. And, we persevere and conquer. It was a lovely day, though. We had 0 regrets about all the vendors we chose. We went very, very small with the guest count. I said that it was a lot of socializing. It still was. We made sure we said hello and we said goodbye to every single guest. We got to host the whole night. It was really great. It was not too overwhelming, but when you wake up at 6:30 a.m. and then go to sleep the following morning at 2:30 a.m., it takes a lot out of you. So did feel like I got hit by a train the following week. We were just so chill about it. It was so lovely. We had wonderful florals. I said I wasn't going to talk that much about it at the wedding. I still want to hype up certain vendors who were delightful. Had it in Hershey, the Hershey Lodge, the Hershey Gardens. Everyone was a delight. We worked with planners because we both work full time. We did not want to have to worry about place cards and where things were going and who's packing up the leftover cake and where do people have to be and at what time. So we hired planners. We hired Simple Soiree from the Pennsylvania area. We hired Annie Sharp Photography. I will not be sharing photos, but they are beautiful. And to any friends watching the podcast, you've seen them. They are stunning. And then for florals, maybe I'll share a picture of the flowers on my story after I post this episode. I'll throw them in here. The florals were Perfect Stems. They are based in York, PA. They were also lovely to work with. Shout out to Leah from Perfect Stems. And then we went really ham on Etsy. Top tip for anybody planning a wedding: don't DIY stuff, just go on Etsy. We definitely did not have the time to be DIYing everything because I'm a designer. I did all of our stationery, but then like didn't even print it, didn't do any of the cutting out, die cutting stuff myself. Had just loaded into Zola, had Zola do it. But yeah, other than that, everything was Etsy and wonderful vendors. Honestly, like was more excited to just like get back into work, get back into this. I had just launched the podcast. 36 Days of Type was rolling, and I did have a lot of friends who were like, "You're literally getting married in a week. What are you doing?" So I'm very excited to be back, though. She's a working girly. I get so much joy from my job and from doing this, from creating art in my spare time, and most recently, talking into a microphone. So, very glad to be back. Very grateful for the 6 listeners who are here. I love reading your comments. I read all of them because there are like 2 of you. I respond to every single one. So, get in now, guys. If you leave comments now, I will reply to them. And yeah, for those who have been here since the first episode, I have not muted my mic once in recording. So we live, laugh, love, we grow, we learn together, and we're doing it. We're doing it. So that's a little update on things I've been up to in the last 2 weeks that I have not posted. Oh, one more thing. Super fun. Took dance lessons for the wedding. We, like a month out, I told my fiance, I was like, I really want to get dance lessons. I don't want us to be doing like the middle school, like sway back and forth. I was just like, I really want to not look bad. Would love to have a few moves under our belt so that, you know, not to like choreograph something, but just so that we don't look like shit. So he was very excited. We got dance lessons at a local studio where we live, and it was really, really fun. And when we got to the end, we signed up for, I think it was like 5 lessons. They said like 4 to 6 would be good. I was a musical theater kid. I had dance experience. I also figure skated for 10 years, but my fiance had not done anything but marching band. So we were both very good at keeping a beat. He, though, did not. He just said, I don't know how to move my body. So we got dance lessons, and it was really delightful. We have a wonderful dance instructor, Nadia. She is a delight and a treasure. And when we got to the end of dance lessons, we were like, this is so fun. They have like these weekly group classes, and they call them parties, where they just like turn on some fun disco lights and turn on music, and you get to practice. And we had so much fun that at the end, they were like, so, hi, you guys are married now. Are you guys going to keep coming? And we've kind of kept it up, and it's been fun. So we are continuing our dancing journey. For the wedding, we did a slow song, and then, not to brag, we learned it so fast and we were so good at it that they were like, we can't believe you've only had 4 lessons. But because we had time, we also learned a swing dance. We danced to Paolo Nutini's Pencil Full of Lead. Very, very fun. And yeah, it was totally worth it. It was so fun. The moment that I knew that like the money we spent on dance lessons was worth it was when, during our swing song, people started clapping to the beat and cheering. And I think that it was like a top 5 moment of the day. People were just so kind. We had met most of each other's like family and friends before the wedding, but of course there were still some new people, some plus ones who came, who we met on the day. And it made me feel very, very lucky. I felt like we chose quality over quantity when it came to the guest list. And I have to say, we just have so many delightful friends and family. That was something else I wanted to talk about. I posted on Threads about this the other day. I think it was my mom. It might have been a friend of my mom who asked me before the wedding, but in any case, I was asked like, hey, you have 1 table of family at the wedding. or like, do you have regrets about not inviting more extended family? I invited my immediate family, my sibling mom and my dad, and then I invited a grandmother, aunt, and like one cousin, one extended family member. And honestly, I I honestly like could not be happier about that decision. A long story short, a lot of like not great family on both sides from both parents. Both me and my husband and my immediate family are still COVID informed and masking. I had previously used the phrase COVID cautious, but then I saw someone on Threads and Instagram who says COVID informed, and I'm going to use it now. But yeah, we're still masking to protect ourselves. We just had a diagnosis in the family of cancer. We're all immune compromised. So, not that I have to explain myself, but we certainly did to extended family. And then none of them listened. And we, no regrets about cutting off people. Frankly, it was a long time coming. I feel like the people who have not respected us masking and the people who have refused to mask themselves, even if it's just for a couple minutes, were people who never really showed us respect in the first place. So, not a regret not inviting those people to our wedding. It was such a delightful day. That energy would have ruined it. And frankly, like, oh my God, I'm not going to cry. I cried on the day. It was the one moment I like got misty. Just the number of like chosen family who we had there. It just, oh my gosh, it makes me so happy to think about. We just had so many lovely friends and family there on the day that it made me feel just like there never was another decision to invite, extended family. Instead, it was just a beautiful day. And I said this, I think it was my mom who asked me, but when she asked me if I felt bad that I didn't have more family coming, because my husband's side was mostly family, I was just like, no. Why should I waste my time on these blood relatives who don't give a shit about me, my spouse, my family, our health, our well-being, respecting us, when I just have this abundance of wonderful people, these friends, this chosen family who would do anything for me. I had, we had extended family, even some immediate family who were like, no, we're not going to mask. We had people who have made fun of it in the past. We just, and I chose two very wonderful friends to be my bridesmaids. We had very small parties. And my two friends, both without prompting, were like, hey, if you want to get ready on the morning, we'll mask. We'll mask leading up to it. We'll mask with you, whatever you need. My one bridesmaid was like, she shows up to the rehearsal, her and her partner there, and she was like, hey, do you need me to send him? I have 100 masks in my car, and I'll bring him in and I'll yell at people for you. And I was like, don't yell at anybody, but thank you so much. And I just like having friends who do that without me asking makes me feel like, why would you bother with, family you're related to by blood who treat you like crap when there are wonderful people out there who have no obligation to you, but are committed to you because they want to be your friend. They want to be your family. So that's my spiel about that. I posted that on Threads and I was like, I definitely want to talk about this in more detail on the podcast. And because there's no guest today and I have the floor, I wanted to say that I've thanked everybody, for that individually, of course, but just gonna say it again. If you were a friend who attended, I really think of you as chosen family. I think of you as true family members. It was so wonderful to have you. It's wonderful to have you in my life, in our lives. You are just all delightful. I treasure you all. And it was such a beautiful day because more chosen family was there than family. And Wouldn't have had it any other way. I said I wasn't going to talk about the wedding. It's been the majority of this recording. But moving on. Speaking of Threads, I was very skeptical to get on Threads. When Instagram launched Threads. When Instagram launched Threads, I believe Elon had just purchased Twitter, which I will be dead naming in this. It's Twitter. I will never call it X. That's so fucking stupid. When that platform was purchased, Instagram shortly came out with Threads, and I was just like, oh, it's Twitter. It's Twitter, but we're gonna have different versions of Twitter now. I was like, I don't need it. I don't need another platform. You know, Twitter's Twitter. I frankly should have left Twitter as soon as it was purchased. Won't get into it, but I mean, frankly, could do a whole episode, and I'd really love to, with someone who's, you know, interested in political science. Maybe I'll have my mom on and we'll talk about that. But the election interference from that billionaire fuck on Twitter with his billions of dollars that he spent to buy our US 2024 presidential election is disgusting. Don't post much on Twitter anymore. Frankly, should have just deleted my account. But I see Instagram doing Threads, and I'm like, okay, it's just another Twitter. I already have Twitter. Why would I be getting on a new platform? And then Blue Sky too. And then I just got so sick of that billionaire moron that I was just like, okay, let's try Threads. And I have to say, I have been pleasantly surprised. I was very wrong. Threads is lovely. It kind of an unintended impact of joining Threads has been gaining a bunch of new Instagram followers because of the way the platforms are connected. Again, not a goal that I had when joining. That has been a very nice, you know, coincidence of joining Threads, but I had the handle. I had already claimed it when they launched Threads. It had just been sitting there. I have one for the podcast too, by the way. Plug, go follow it. But when I joined and then started posting like a year or so later, I mean, we have over 2,000 followers now. I talk to people every day on there. It's like very much a safe haven for me. I have kind of built this community on there, a very small community, but again, quality over quantity, I think. I try to kind of follow that in the digital spaces I cultivate as well. People are just wonderful on there. Of course, there are the bigots, the homophobes, the transphobes who get blocked on my page. Talked about that with Emma of House Dahlia on the last podcast. We talked about how, you know, we don't get paid for blocking people, but we protect our followers and create these spaces, you know, rooted in positivity and kindness and empathy. And yeah, if you're on my page, I'll block those people. Tag me. If I missed it, I'll block them. But yeah, there's this wonderful community on Threads. I've really enjoyed building up my following there. I've enjoyed posting. Sometimes you post something and it's like, you think it's a throwaway. And on Threads, the algorithm, for some reason, will throw some of those posts at people and it'll get, you know, I just had one the other day that I was like, hey, if you're this, or this, let's be friends. And it's up to like 15,000 views right now and over 1,000 likes, which I'm very into metrics. I'm not into like, oh my God, I got this many likes. Like, this is amazing. But I'm very fascinated by the insights tab on that platform and kind of seeing how people find me. Again, with the podcast, I think it's very interesting. And I love that Spotify shows you kind of the bumps in your content when you post, how, who finds you, kind of your conversion rate, all of that, at least to me working in advertising, is very, very intriguing. But yeah, loving Threads. Follow me on there. I'm at Carly Civello, my full name, and then at Talking Person Podcast. I post a lot on there, more on my Carly Civello, my main account. But I'm trying to get better about posting on podcast accounts, and that is a great place to follow me. I have an open call for guests right now. Very, very exciting. If you would like to come on the Talking Person podcast, you can email talkingpersonpodcast@gmail.com. to basically apply to be a guest. I've had a wonderful response so far, but all the people who were reaching out to me, it was all in my DMs and it was starting to get overwhelming. So I have now created an inbox for the Talking Person podcast. So I believe it's Talking Person Podcast at Gmail. I'm going to double check that. How awkward would it be if I sent people to the wrong link? Yes, Talking Person Podcast at gmail.com. Send me an email to that inbox and I will get back to you. Definitely a slower response time right now as I'm just getting back from wedding stuff, just recording a new episode. So definitely be patient with me, but I will get back to you. I promise. But yeah, Threads has been wonderful for connecting with new people. I'm a big fan of the platform and I'm hoping to use it more to connect with people who listen to the podcast in the future. What else? Oh yeah, Threads. Again, another Threads topic. Threads has been just insanely incredible for finding other autistic, queer, COVID-informed, chronic illness girlies, to just vent to. I feel like Twitter just felt so isolating. It felt like I'd go on there, throw something out into the ether, one person would see it, one person would comment a slur, and then it kind of just disappeared. And Threads has very much been like my home base for networking with other autistic people, other women-owned businesses, like I said, COVID-informed, queer people. It's just been really wonderful. And I feel like in my brain, it's like the intersectionality platform. There are so many wonderful creators I've met who, have all those same descriptors as I do, queer, autistic, woman-owned small business, podcaster. Have been meeting a lot of people who have launched their own podcasts recently and learning from each other, talking, having, again, that kind of space to vent has been so wonderful. And I'm just loving Threads. Anyway, that's my Threads plug. And speaking of building community for queer and autistic people, COVID-informed people, another thing that I have been doing a lot recently is just being a more active participant in democracy. And I definitely want to talk about this in more depth. Again, want to have, a political science kind of US democracy episode coming up. So please let me know if you're interested in being a guest on that. But I just wanted to kind of do a public service announcement first and foremost that democracy is not a spectator sport. One of my favorite chants, I've been to a few protests lately. I'm getting more involved since I live near a state capitol. I've been getting more involved, and one of my favorite chants that we do at these protests is show me what democracy looks like, and everybody answers, this is what democracy looks like. And it has honestly, like, I'm not gonna tear up now. It has brought me to tears every time we go to one of these rallies. I've been going with my husband and my mom. We meet up and we go to these. We made these signs. You can check them out. I posted them on my Threads. But I tear up every time I show up because the number of people who are there, how peaceful people are. Everybody respects personal space. We'll wear masks just because, in densely kind of crowded areas outdoors, we still like to mask even when it is outdoors. Everyone is just so respectful. There's so much kindness and empathy, and the speakers are all wonderful. I'm very excited. I'm hoping to speak at an upcoming protest. I've been talking with organizers lately, but it's just been so wonderful. My mom and I photographed one the other day. It was 3 days before our wedding. We went and I was photographing at one at our state capitol. And yeah, that's my public service announcement. Democracy is not a spectator sport. In addition to protesting, I mean, if you are not, I'm very fortunate in that being autistic, and being disabled, like, I'm still able to go to those events. I feel very lucky. I know that there are many people who are disabled and not able to attend, events like that for that reason. And I feel very fortunate. I, yeah, I tear up. I definitely get misty at those protests because there's just so many people. Everybody's so kind, and everyone is being an active participant in democracy. I mean, you can vote. It's insane. You can vote, you can do everything, but you have to be calling your representatives. You have to be sending emails, writing postcards, attending events. You have to go to your local town halls. Local democracy is just as if not more important than, our federal government and our executive office. You can make your voice heard so much better at local town halls and by calling your representatives' offices. And in the same vein of democracy not being a spectator sport, you can vote for someone and hold them accountable. Voting for someone does not mean that you support them no matter what, through anything you support them. That is not at all what democracy is. There's a wonderful metaphor I saw a while ago on Twitter. I forget who posted it. I'm so sorry. But it was, democracy is like public transportation. Elections, your officials, it's like public transportation. You pick the person who's going to get you closest to where you want to go. And I feel that in this incredibly digital age, with, Joe Rogan, Andrew Tate, with this rise of like Gen Z, very like traditional conservative values, trad wives, all of these boys who kind of get in this alt-right pipeline with those podcasts and those just disgusting figures. I feel like more and more people in the Gen Z generation are expecting politicians to align with their values exactly. And so I will say again, in my opinion, politics, our elected officials, our democracy, it's public transportation. If you've been to a city, I went to college in Philly. When you're in Philly, you hop on SEPTA to go most places. If you're, trying to go to something downtown, you get off at the city hall stop and you have to walk a few blocks. And I feel that attending protests, calling offices, that is my walking after getting off, SEPTA. That is my walking a few blocks. I think that we should all hop on the subway and walk those few blocks right now. I have been incredibly disappointed with John Fetterman. He is one of my elected officials. I voted for him, and I have been incredibly disappointed. I also have an immense amount of empathy for that man and his family because he had a brain injury. He had a stroke. Got a lot of grief from people at the time, and my dad also, in a car crash, his entire personality changed from a traumatic brain injury. And so I have a lot of empathy for his family and for him, because it does seem that, I would like to give the benefit of the doubt and assume that brain injury has affected his politics and kind of the way he's presented himself, but hasn't let him off the hook for me. I am still calling his office frequently. I'm sending emails. I've gotten a lot of form responses back from him, which have not made me super happy, but nevertheless, we persist. And I encourage you all to get off the SEPTA, get out of your Uber, and walk these few blocks right now, because democracy is not a spectator sport. We've also had some family members who have come to us and said, "Oh, I don't like you going to protests. You're going to get disappeared, or, with ICE out, you're going to, they're going to arrest you." And what I say to that, while it's a very valid concern, I think to all those moments sitting in history class when you would kind of wonder to yourself, "Oh, wow, I wonder, would my family have hidden Anne Frank? Would I have been outspoken against, Nazis in Nazi Germany? And would I have been, one to just kind of fall in line and try to protect myself and my family? Or would I have been one to be outspoken and to fight for justice?" And we're having that moment right now. And I think that if you were one of those people who thought to yourself in, World Civ or history class, "Would I have been that person?" You can be that person right now. And being that person means attending protests. It means being outspoken on social media. It means telling your friends and family, well, that's a risk we'll have to take. And I encourage you to go out to a protest too, because there is strength in numbers. And I think that our current elected official in the Oval Office is trying to rule our country with fear. And I think if we let him do that, if we, go, oh yeah, I don't want to go because I'm worried they're going to disappear me, I think that is when we lose. And I think that is when we lose our democracy. So a little bit longer than I originally meant, but I think it's all important. Going to leave it all in there. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It is public transportation too. You hop on, you get off, you have to walk a little more. And I encourage you all to walk with me, to attend your local protest, your rallies, to get involved, to help make signs, to help sign people up, register people to vote. If you have a car and can drive, if you are able to get off work, drive people to the polls. Again, register, get your mail-in ballot if it's available in your state. There are primaries coming up. If you're in Pennsylvania, primaries are coming up, and the deadline to request your mail-in ballot was yesterday when I'm recording this, May 13th, but you can still register and get to the polls. So I encourage you to do that if you're in Pennsylvania. There are primaries happening all over the country, though, and your local government affects your life so much. It used to be what Republicans cared most about. They, originally Republicans wanted control kind of concentrated locally more than federally, and clearly that's not what the Republican Party is doing now. But I digress. It is very important. It's imperative right now that we walk those few blocks, that we hold our elected officials accountable, and that we do not waver. We do not kind of give up and let fear rule our lives, because we will most assuredly lose our democracy if we just give up. Anyway, moving on. I realize that we are in the 4th episode, and I have not said why this is called the Talking Person Podcast. So I'm going to get into it now. Story time. I knew immediately this is what the name of the podcast would be, and I can't believe that I haven't kind of gone into it. This is the 4th episode. Talking Person was a thing that originated at the high school I went to. During morning assemblies, we would have them every day. Someone started this tradition of standing up and saying, "Hi, my name is," and I'm a talking person. So that is how I start my podcast every single episode. Because before, it was always a senior who got this role, and before they graduated, they usually held auditions or some type of contest to pick the new talking person. I auditioned, and my very, very lovely friend who was talking person the year before me gave me the honor, and it was just so much fun. I love doing it. And when I was thinking of what to call this podcast, I was just like, that's perfect. I had thought of a few other names, like I'm Italian, I'm a big hand talker, and I was like, oh, I could call it like hand talking or like Italian woman, and nothing was really working it for me. So I thought of some creative names too. Obviously, the kind of working tagline I have is creativity, culture, and current events. And I thought, well, that's cute and all. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into just doing creative things. That was something that I really wanted to avoid. And so when I thought of the name, I was like, oh, that's perfect. We're on here, we're talking. I looked up podcasts. I saw that nobody else had this name, and that was it. So I will end with that. If you're new here, welcome to the Talking Person Podcast. We have some wonderful guests scheduled coming up. I am recording with someone else next week. There are a bunch of people who we're getting scheduled right now. I'm so very happy to have you here. I love what I do. I'm loving this podcast, and I hope that you will stick around and stay tuned for the next few episodes. If you are just joining too, go back and watch the last few episodes, the last 2 with, again, the very, very lovely Emma of House Dahlia, a fashion house in London. She was on the last episode. And then the one before that was Monica Reeves, she's just the kindest, most wonderful person who's also a motion designer. So we talk a lot about that, talk a little bit about video gaming. If you are a person who also contains multitudes and you kind of want to sit at the intersectionality where I am, of being queer, autistic, disabled, um, God, what else? Woman. Hi, woman, small business owner, artist. Stick around. Again, so happy to have you here. I'm Carly Civello, and I'm a talking person, and I'll see you in the next one.